Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. Today's April 29th, and I already covered today's safe and legal anniversary. It was a member of the National Abortion Federation who let a patient bleed to death. And after this patient's death, when they investigated, they found out this guy was also letting his receptionist administer general anesthesia. So, cream of the crop, National Abortion Federation. Whenever you see news stories about abortion and there's this little sideline, but oh, if you go to a National Abortion Federation clinic, none of this bad stuff will happen. Remember that your receptionist might be the one who's back there doing your anesthesia. So let's get to our unsafe, illegal abortion death today. And again, it seems to be a matter of, alas, there was no legalization fairy, but this thing took a really, really dark turn. So Josie Leclerc, age 24, had been living near St. John's Boys' School in Manlius Village for about 2 weeks, working in the culinary department back in April of 1874. On Saturday, April 15th, she had gone to Norwich, but was sent back this morning in a coffin and box from there, and accompanying the box was a medical certificate stating that she had died of no contagious disease. So Mrs. Copeland, the school matron, went to Norwich and reported the situation of the corpse and other things surrounding it were very suspicious. So again, you couldn't readily hide these bodies. Anybody who thought something was fishy could bring it to the attention of the authorities. So the coroners from Josie's home county, as well as from the county where she died, worked together to investigate her death. The coroner met the sheriff and several concerned citizens at Josephine's family home to examine the body, speak to her parents and brother, and decide what further steps needed to be taken. Josie's body was in terrible shape, and this is, nowadays, if somebody's body's in bad shape, the embalmer down at the funeral home gets them cleaned up. But this was back when people prepared their loved ones' own bodies for burial themselves. Her face and body were badly swollen and discolored, and she was oozing fluid from her mouth. And when the doctor performing the autopsy opened her abdomen, a large amount of gas escaped, which kind of, to me, indicates there may have been some gas gangrene going on there. And also potentially a perforated bowel with normal intestinal gas getting out into her abdomen. The intestines appeared normal, but her uterus was enlarged and punctured with a hole at the top and was necrotic in patches, and the cause of death was clearly an abortion. Josie's brother Albert said that she had left home on Saturday morning for a visit of about a week, saying that she was going to collect some back pay from a previous employer. And he never saw her alive again. The next time he saw his sister was when she was shipped back to him in a box. With all the shipping fees paid, but no indication of who had paid or made arrangements for this macabre delivery, and nobody in the family had known or would have even guessed that Josie was pregnant. The investigators determined that Josie had taken very ill after her trip to Norwich and was cared for by Dr. H.M. Smith and several other physicians who determined that she was suffering abortion complications and pressed her to identify the guilty parties. Quote, she persistently refused to make any statement. And again, this is something that I just find shocking, that the women who died from these criminal abortions were more loyal to the abortionists than they were to their fellow women. They were more concerned about protecting the person who was causing their death than they were about protecting other women who might trust that person. So to me, that's just another sign that there's something freaky weird going on there. I mean, if you went to a plastic surgeon and he did such a botched job that you were going to die, would you say, oh, I don't want him to get in trouble for this? Or would you be, I don't want him to ever lay hands on another person? It's just something weird about abortion. So, on being informed that her death was inevitable, she identified her paramour and then finally the abortionist. A friend or acquaintance who'd been caring for Josie during her illness had been the one to obtain the coffin and arrange for shipment of the body. And this person accompanied her body partway and then just kind of vanished. Now, the doctor was only identified as Dr. Haven in news coverage and was described as a resident practitioner of Hamilton, Madison County. His reputation is none the best, and he has boasted he could do these things up very neatly. So apparently this guy was reputed as an abortionist. The baby's father was identified as Thomas D. Kelly, who had kept company with Josie for about a year. Josie's sister said that the two were engaged to be married and that Josie had already purchased her wedding dress the previous Christmas. Kelly fled, but was finally tracked down in Pennsylvania. He was arrested and was transported by the sheriff from the train station to the jail when Josie's brother Albert, quote, without much ado, drew a revolver and fired 3 bullets into the body of Kelly, killing him instantly. So there was a little bit of vigilante justice there. Albert made his getaway by leaping onto the engine of a train that was just pulling out of the depot and was last seen walking toward his home. As you might expect, the affair created intense excitement in the country interested, said the Syracuse Journal. And there seems to be but one feeling among the people in the locality, and that is Leclerc served Kelly right. So Josie left behind her parents, poor but worthy people, they were described as, along with 2 brothers and 4 sisters. And Josie was considered a pleasant, likable girl, as pure and honest as she was handsome and modest. So why this man didn't just speed up the wedding, why instead he arranged for his fiancée to wind up dead, but at least it cost him his life too. I'm not a fan of vigilante justice, but one of the things that ticks me off about safe and legal abortion deaths is the man gets away with it, and the woman's just as dead as if the abortion was illegal.